Hey guys, this is Production Music Live with another tutorial, and in this one we are checking out the style of Mr. Carmack, and I'm going to give you an overview of this little project we are talking about here. We have a break part here, we have the start, the drop and another drop part, and up here in this group we have mostly drum elements. Below that we have two trap, kick, bass sounds, then we have those pitchy synths and more pitchy synths, a lot of pitchy synths in this track. And down here we have some of those key sounds and key chords in the break part. And down here we have sirens playing. And this police siren kind of thing. Anyways, everything here is made with Ableton Standard Edition and Massive. So if you have those two tools, that would be enough. We are not using any third-party plugins or anything. We're just focusing on Ableton effects for all the effects in here, also on our mastering chain. So let's quickly start from the beginning and take some of the drummings. And well, let's go behind the track and start from here. So I'm copying this clap, for example, just to mark this area where we are going to redo this quickly, walk through it. And I have a sidechain track over here, just triggering the sidechain information, and we're using that below. We have nothing on our drums group over here, and now we have a clap. This is a clap sound out of our D Premium drums package, but any clap sound that sounds like that will do. And you see it's layered already over here, so I'm playing it 3 times, quickly one after another. And if we put on the return channels, you can also see we are using the third one, which is the drums reverb. So this one is slightly playing here. If I put it off. And also we have the delay playing here. So it's the 5th channel, this one. So we are sending this information to the send channel, and we have a delay on that one. And back to the track, we have our clap sample inside of this simpler device, and we are pitching it down 10 semitones. Let's use it in the original mode. It's a snip. So if we go down 10, that's what it sounds like. We keep the velocities. Put on a chorus effect, so from our audio effects, a chorus to widen the sound. And well, you can argue if that's good EQing. You can also do this in a slightly different way. For example, taking down everything like this, keeping this at 0 decibels more or less, so this would be more subtractive in that way, and then what was the difference? About 7-8 decibels. We put it up again here. It's probably a more correct way of doing that. So now we have a second element, the snare sound. I'm copying that one as well. So again, we are playing in 1.3 in this position. This time we are not layering anything. And I need to put it on play mode. This is our snare sound here, and it's EQ'd and has a bit of drum reverb with the send effect going on here, and slight track delay compared to -15. We have -4 here, so we are moving this track around compared to all the other tracks, and we are playing it 4 milliseconds earlier. Alright, so what's next? We have another clap sound here. What is this one doing? So many claps layered here because it's really necessary to get the sound like layered and close to this Mr. Carmack kind of style. And how does that sound without this drums reverb? Like a simple clap sound. That one is even, it appeared to be pitched down, but it isn't. So that's simply the sound of this sample and putting back on the EQ and putting the reverb back on. So, trap hi-hat. So you see we have this quick pattern, and whenever we are playing some quicker notes, we are taking down the velocities because else it sounds really, really mechanic and bit computery. You could also think of putting a slight chorus on top of it, so like it worked like a doubler. So it's not that direct in the sound, but depends a bit on what you want to do. And we put on the side chaining just a bit to be sure it's not hitting when we hit the kick. Alright, so let's move on. We skip those vocals for a second and we move on to this kick snap kind of thing over here. I'm copying that one. And what's that? So it's just a kick and we were rolling off some, this is not needed. So we're rolling off some low end here. We're putting up the pitch of this kick. So you can put up the pitch inside of the piano roll like happened here, and then later, if you're not sure which note it is and you don't want to mess around in the piano roll all the time, you can also take a MIDI effect, pitch, drag that in front of your sound, so in front of your sample in this case, and then like adjust the pitch just with this knob over here. That way you can be somehow quicker in adjusting that, but you can also use this one down here. Sometimes you don't have that in your instruments, and that's when this pitchy thing comes in handy. So we also have a compressor here. And see, we are too loud again, so let's quickly take a utility here. So overall we have so much headroom, also always working with a lot of headroom left, but inside but internally over here we are clipping. So let's put down this by 8 and put it up back 8. Alright, internal clipping solved. But basically that is kick sample 36. So in the premium, in our drum sample pack, check the description if you're interested in this pack. That's the kick we're using, but we're just taking the snap. And another element over here, our tom snap. So you see this one comes in early. That's why we are only able to listen to it if we are actually a bit too early here. So So it's a tom sound. And it's pitched up, 10 semitones, -1, 9. So, and no sidechain here, and rolling off the low end because we are keeping that for the sub bass. And now let's put in the sub bass so we know what we are actually doing. And this is our Now be sure you're working on sub speakers or headphones to be able to listen to this in a good way. And this is the pattern we are playing. And we're using Massive in this case. We have this trap bass preset from our future bass preset pack, and we can control the shape of this sound with the first envelope. And with the last one over here as well. I want it a bit longer, that's why I'm keeping it that way. Another element here is the start kick. Just emphasizing a bit more on those tones here. And you see this time the decay is short. And we're rolling off some low end here to leave room. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have some of those shouters, reverse shouters. What is that? Let's quickly check that out. I think this audio samples. Always adding in some dynamics into your sound. And then we have this vocal shots, short one here. So we are quickly playing here in our very narrow 32's view, 16's view, and taking off the low end. Chorus on top, widening the sound, and that's basically everything that's happening here. And combining it with this one. And that one can go a bit lower. So you see that one is a bit off over here. That's the plan. It just swooshes in from time to time. And chorus as well. Frequency shifter up a bit. I wasn't looking for that, so put up the frequency shifter to 810. It's quite helpful. And a simple delay. So all together. Okay, and now this deep vox kind of thing. What's that? It's also adding some weird kind of feeling in here. Actually, we could control those frequencies after the shifter once more, because that one's adding in some lower frequencies. So this is what happens. You roll off low frequencies, then you add a frequency shifter, shift it down, so it shifts parts from those frequencies down here, and you're back with low end. So let's roll it off again. Okay, and we have a reverse cymbal sound here. So I'm taking this one. It's, what's that? D Premium Dry 2. It's basically that one reversed. So take the sample and you put reverse over here. And also we have this crash combination with this sound here. Oh, we just copy it from here. And that's another reversed sample. And low end off here. And long reverb, 6 seconds, almost 7 seconds. And you're like, what the hell is this? But it makes sense in the context of the track. It doesn't make sense if you play the drumming. Well, it sounds a bit weird actually if you play the drumming out like this. You're like, what's that? Okay, so let's go on to those lower parts over here. And I think I've covered everything in the drums. Let's quickly check back. Yeah, so we're able to see everything we are playing. It's good. And let's take this pitch low synth. So let's see what that is doing. So those are a bit layered here. And we have Massive playing. Focusing a bit on the long tail of the sound. And a bit of reverb behind and a little bit of simple delay. What's happening with the sound? Basically playing this woody thing over here. And this band reject filter really gets us the spice in there. So this is our top layer of this pitchy synth sound, and now we are putting in a next layer. And that one is just put to the sides with the chorus over here, and it's just for those highest frequencies. For all this stuff, very useful, and you see we have reverb on top, but we still have a note, so a tone playing. We're playing saws and saw and saw. And our next sound. So this one is here to mess up things. We have another saw wave here. And we run it through a tube and a flanger. and it sounds a bit pitched because of this pitchy thing here. So this first envelope controls the pitch of the oscillator, and we tell it to like have a long attack time, but then whoop, come in. So this is how that works, 1 octave up. And we have another pitch risey kind of thing here. What's that? Yeah, I noticed that in the original track, so I tried to replicate something like that. And it's also done with Massive over here, so you see another pitched envelope. It's crazy how these things sometimes sound if you put off the pitch. So it's really this the second envelope in our first oscillator, turning this sound just by plugging it into the first oscillator and taking down the pitch 2 octaves over here. So. Okay, what else are we missing here? This siren kind of lead. Let's copy that one as well. What is this? FX siren. I think that's just a recorded police car. Let's listen to that quickly. Yeah, recorded police car, chorus on top and a lot of delay. Okay, and if we have a look at this siren, so we are trying to do something like, how can we do that? You can do that with a basic init preset basically, and then you just go ahead and put a long envelope in the 4th envelope, controlling the amp, and then you go to oscillator and put up the time forever. And now it will take so much longer to, if you overlap notes like those two, it will take so much longer to actually go down from this D over here to this D3. This is really controlled by this time knob over here. So if I were to make this really short and we go back to this part over here, but well, let's save us some time and put this note a lot shorter. And well, you know, start here. There we are, already down. So this is and it also depends a bit if you want to restart it or not. So can go longer. I think I made it too short now. Just draw it up longer. But anyways, this is our drop part, and I'm going to close those now. And siren, lead, siren. Okay, so if we close this down and also the return channels for a minute, we see, okay, we're done with this part over here. And let's take a look at the break. So what is giving this rising feeling we have on our master channel? We have this fade to gray effect, and that one is a combination out of a simple delay, an auto filter, and a reverb, and I'm pulling that one up in front of the drop. So it's this typical DJ kind of effect. So if you open up reverb and delay and filter out the low frequencies to avoid this bumpy delayed feeling in your bass, that's what you get. If I open up the fade to gray manually in this part, you notice how it sounds. Okay, so that's just if you're wondering what's going on in this break part, that's what's happening. And also we have a break clap here. It's a little different clap sound. Very lo-fi. So auto filter up here. There's a hat. Playing this pattern. And also quite lo-fi, so this is what we need here. I'm just playing around with a couple of vocal shots here to add some dynamics in here. Just cut them together and put a bit of reverb on top and some simple delay. And we also have this other vocal down here, something random. The siren is still in there, and we have those chords playing here. So if you want to know how to make those types of chord progressions, we just finished a course on chord progressions in harmony. I'm putting a link in the description. You can check that out. We're going into great detail in that one. This sound is played with Massive over here, and it's just a saw wave. It's really nothing fancy. A saw wave combined with a square wave, and then we are throwing on some low pass filter over here, and then we are also throwing on a bit of compression and reverb, but it looks really complex, but it actually isn't. It's just a bit EQing here, a bit delay. We had that before already. So this is the sound we are getting. And that bass is interesting over here. So I kind of heard something like that in one of the tracks and I thought that was cool. So try to replicate it over here, and we're using a simple square wave combined with a sine wave and a low pass filter and a Browner tube. And we have those keys up here playing a quite similar pattern to this bass. And you already noticed there's a flanger on top of that sound. So it's again, it's a saw wave, a square wave. And this time we just put on a low pass filter over here. And well, where's this flanger? Here, there's a flanger. There's basically reverb, there's a flanger, a bit of auto panning from left to right ear, and taking off some low end here. So there's another sound here layered together with those keys, and that one is a bit pitchy. So if we look at the voicing here, we can see it's on monorotate and the time portamento is up slightly. And it's basically a bass sound played up like a key sound, and a bit of reverb on top of it as well, and a bit of EQing out the lower parts here and focusing on the higher parts, on those key frequencies here, auto panning as well. And let's play them all together. And also we have this lead thing here. It's just a simple massive lead sound, also saw wave and a square wave. It's always the same sound design in this part here. The sound design is not that important. Important is the EQing over here, and we're rolling off everything we don't need because we have that covered with the other bass and we have those covered with a couple of key sounds. So we just swooshing it in here in this part. And the drop is being introduced by this reverse shouting thing here. Alright, and let's take another look at this part over here. We have a little bit of a pitchy synth. So this is just a higher version of what we already had. the logic remains the same. If we go to the start, with this pitch riser over here, you can also think about a creative thing would be probably putting up a reverb behind everything and putting it up on a long decay time, high, a bit of a low cut, but also a high cut here. Reflections are not important. Diffusion, so the long part of the reverb is what we're looking for. And decay time up, stereo, yeah, a bit stereo, and also size quite a bit. Length of the reverb, so we're going to automate this dry wet button here. So usually it would be like that. And we're just opening that one up and reversing it back into the drop. Maybe that was a bit too much, but you see the point. I want it less clear in the beginning of this break part here, but then more obvious in the mix. Alright, so this is an approach to making this style of Mr. Carmack. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Check the description for presets, templates and courses. Subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you next time.